This is Singapore, one of the smallest countries in the world. So small, you can drive across it in just an hour. Just 360 square miles, smaller than New York City. No natural resources, no massive factories, no gold mines. And yet, it's one of the wealthiest nations on Earth. But how did Singapore become rich? In 1965, Singapore was, by most accounts, a country that wasn't supposed to succeed. It had just been kicked out of Malaysia. It had no army, no natural resources, not even clean water of its own. Just a swampy port city with a few million people, most of them poor, crammed into rundown housing, divided by race, and unsure of what came next. But if you fast forward just a few decades, it becomes one of the richest, most efficient, most stable places on the planet. A lot of it starts with this man, Kuan Yew, Singapore's first prime minister.
This was a mud flat, swamp. Today, this is a modern city.
Lee wasn't your typical political leader. He was sharp, demanding, and had zero interest in winning people over with charm. What he cared about was results. He didn't want Singapore to just survive. He wanted it to thrive. And he knew that meant making tough, unpopular decisions and sticking to them.
Whoever governs Singapore must have that iron in him.
One of the first things he did? Clean up corruption. In the 1960s, bribery and shady deals were just part of how many countries operated. But Lee made it clear, not in Singapore. If you worked in government and took money under the table, you were out, or worse. Then he built a government that looked more like a company. Ministers were paid competitive salaries. Promotions were based on performance. Everything was run with the idea that if you wanted people to behave well, you had to give them systems that worked. And here's where geography comes in. Singapore is tiny, but it sits in one of the most strategic places on Earth. Ships moving between Europe, the Middle East, and Asia pretty much have to pass by. So Lee turned Singapore into the ultimate global stopover. He invested in the port, made trade ridiculously smooth, and made it a place where global companies could trust the rules wouldn't suddenly change. In the 1970s and 80s, Singapore became a manufacturing hub. Then it evolved again into finance, biotech, digital tech, and high-end services. The country kept moving up the value chain, and it didn't wait around for others to lead the way. And while all this was happening, Singapore was quietly saving. It didn't just collect taxes and spend them. It created sovereign wealth funds, huge government-run investment companies like Temasek and GIC. These funds invest all over the world. Airports in Europe, tech companies in the US, real estate in Asia. Those investments bring in billions, and they give Singapore something most countries don't have: long-term financial security. Now, Singapore isn't loud or chaotic like some other global cities. It's carefully run, the trains arrive on time, the streets are spotless, and you can walk around at 2 a.m. and feel completely safe. It's also one of the easiest places in the world to visit. English is everywhere. The airport is world-class. Public transport is cheap and works like clockwork. And despite being small, Singapore packs in a stunning mix of cultures: Chinese, Malay, Indian, Western, all blending into a city that somehow feels both ultra-modern and deeply rooted. It's a place that rewards curiosity. You can go from eating $3 noodles to seeing some of the most futuristic architecture on Earth in the same afternoon. And beneath all of that, the clean lines, the quiet efficiency, you feel something else: intention. Almost nothing in Singapore is accidental. This is a place that was built with purpose. It may be small, but it leaves a big impression. The rise of Singapore is one of the most dramatic economic turnarounds in modern history. It went from a fragile, divided port city to a global powerhouse in less than a lifetime. Not because of luck, not because of oil, but because a tiny country, led by one man and shaped by millions of determined people, decided to be smart, disciplined, and very, very serious about the future. Singapore didn't bet on miracles, it bet on itself. Thanks for watching. If you want to dive deeper into our full Singapore itinerary, click the video on the right. And if this inspired you to start planning your own adventure, head over to FayyazTravels.com. Our team of expert consultants is ready to design something unforgettable. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more stories like this. See you in the next one.